I will not comment the decision of Israel to attack Iran. What it shows is that this region is very important for the oil and gas markets because 20% of the oil exports come from this region and 20% of the LNG is coming from Qatar. So, you know, it's, so of course, any events which could affect oil and gas installations in the region would affect the global markets. TotalEnergies, we are involved heavily. We are the largest international oil companies in the region. We were born 100 years ago in Iraq, and we still have operations in Iraq, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Of course, for the CEOs, the first concern is the security of our people. So since Saturday morning, we have, of course, taken care of our people. They are safe today. We are controlled. We have people in Iraq, in the south of Iraq, which is, of course, not far from Iran. And it's also people, but in all the region, because, and I hope it will not be the case, that the attacks will not concern, I would say, oil and gas installations, because this could become a real dramatic hit, not only in terms of safety and hazards and risks, but also in terms of impact on the global markets. So, of course, we are not in control. We monitor that as much as we can on our level, and we follow that very carefully. I would say at this stage, when you look to the markets are relatively quiet. I mean, the oil price went up to $75, not yet at 80 like the year before. So that means that people still consider that I would say the conflict is there. It's a new step in the conflict, but it's still somewhere measured in the way it's happened. We'll see what could be the development.
I do want to pivot now to Total's presence here in Asia, because you did make an announcement that you are increasing your foray, at least in operations in Malaysia, by acquiring bigger stakes in the gas assets. Why now, and why is this important for Total in this day and age?
In fact, Asia for us, it's a big market. You know, it's the growth in gas, the growth in oil is coming from Asia. It was China, India, and Southeast Asia, ASEAN countries are where the economy is growing quicker. Gas is very important in that region because it's an alternative to coal. So we strongly believe that there is most of the LNG demand is coming from Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam tomorrow, India, etc. So being in Asia is important. It's true that you don't have a lot of natural resource. We were historically in other countries, Indonesia, Thailand, and we decided, because of importance of Asia, we had the opportunity in 24 to come back in Malaysia, to establish ourselves in Malaysia. Malaysia is a stable, I would say, offers a good, stable framework from an economic point of view, a very prolific basin in terms of natural resource and gas in particular. So we acquired some assets last year from Sapura OMV, and I'm very pleased because I came for the first time in Malaysia as a CEO in 23. We acquired these assets in 24. And this year in 25, we have announced a big I would say, a strategic partnership with Petronas, where we will acquire, again, a number of blocks, including some new gas resource to be developed, and again, some exploration as well, which is important. The region for us, TotalEnergies is the third largest LNG company in the world. Of course, it's LNG because we strongly believe in gas, in LNG, and we see again these Asian markets as the core of our strategy from this perspective.
So when you listen to what Patrick Pouyanné was saying there, underneath all that volatility and the complications that are being layered onto the global oil markets by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, there's still a lot of business cases and business opportunities, including that of here in Malaysia. But again, because there's a complication, because it's now being muddled, at least the waters, and the waters are getting choppier because of this conflict, it makes things a little more difficult. He did say that what they're watching out for right now is any potential attacks on more critical energy infrastructure in the region. And if that happens in the Gulf region, then that could lead to even bigger price shocks that they'll have to watch out for, Martin.
Yeah, that would be bad news for growth and potentially great for oil prices if you are in that camp. But this whole issue of volatility, JP, it's not so much about price levels. It's about the speed and rate of the move, any move higher, let's say, in oil, the delta, as it were, because that makes it incredibly hard for energy producers, players, and any kind of company which depends on energy, which is basically everybody, right, to do any kind of budgeting or planning.
Yeah, absolutely, Martin. That's something that Patrick Pouyanné also highlighted. He said, to put it into context, if you can assume at least, or among some of the estimates, that global consumption or production of oil is about 100 million barrels a day, if you even take out 1 million barrels out of that capacity, it could cause significant dislocations in prices, which they will have to account for. But Patrick Pouyanné was quick to also correct me in saying that the goal and the job of energy CEOs is not to control the price volatility, because you're going to fail. In fact, for them, it's really trying to control the break-even cost of producing oil. And currently, for TotalEnergies, it's at $25 a barrel, which means they've got some room, actually, and they feel like they're in a stable place. But again, controlling that is the only thing they can actually manage at the moment. But it also might become more difficult, because these price dislocations could introduce more cost shocks, actually, that they'll have to also account for. Make no mistake, Martin, for Patrick Pouyanné and the other business executives here, controlling costs and making sure that they can at least manage the situation is going to be more difficult given what's happened in the Middle East.